Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here. My Flosstube, sorry about that. Flosstube update number 382. Today is Saturday, April 19th. Tomorrow is Easter. Yesterday was Good Friday. Tomorrow is Easter. So happy Easter, everybody. For those who celebrate, it's a nice sort of spring weekend. It's been, the weather here has been kind of up and down. It's hit 100 a couple of days. It's been very warm, and then yesterday it was very, very, very cold. We went to the Good Friday service at our church, and it was moderately coolish. As we were getting in the car, my sister told me, you probably need a jacket or something, a sweater. And going out to the car, it wasn't too cold. It was, it wasn't super hot, but I was wearing sort of, I guess you'd call them capri length pants and a short sleeve shirt, kind of thin shirt. And so with the sweater on, I was pretty much okay. And then where we parked, we had to kind of go around a long way to get in. And by the time I actually, got in the fellowship hall and sat down, I was kind of hot from just walking kind of a long way. And I remember thinking, gosh, I feel hot. I almost took my sweater off, but then I didn't, because then, with the air conditioner and everything in the building, it was, it was kind of just right. I was a little on the coolish side, actually. But then when we left, a couple hours later, we went out to go outside, and the wind was howling, and it was freezing, and there was all these people that had come to the service, like, in shorter sleeves or, not in very warm clothes. And they were like, ooh, trying to get out to their car. And I had to, because we had parked far away, he said, why don't you go wait outside and I'll bring the car around. You'd have to walk, because it was dark, and it's harder for me to walk in the dark like that. And the way we had come, it was kind of, dark. Anyway, so I was sitting there waiting, and the wind was just howling around there, and I was kind of looking around going, I wonder if there's any place I could sit. I guess if I could have sat inside to wait, but I didn't think it was that bad outside, but it was, the wind was really, really cold and, blowing very blustery and all that. So yeah, it was very cold, but it doesn't seem to be as it seems sunnier now outside. It was kind of overcast last night, and today, this morning, it's it seems very sunny and bright. So I don't know. I think the temperature on my phone was like bumping 70. So it's not that cold today, but it's colder than it was colder last night. It was really, really blustery. Anyway, enough of a weather report. So I worked on really very little. Last week I had just started working on the Jackrabbit Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods series, number 3, the Jackrabbit. And when I started on it, I had, last time I worked on it, a year ago, whatever, I had done part of the outlines of his ears, and I had done one of these little white middle parts. I had done one ear but not the other, and I had not finished doing the outline. I had done his face completely and the cabin, and I had started on a few of these little flower things. I done there's 2 Weeks Dye Works colors, or two Fancy Floss colors. One is Gentle Arts, this lighter of these grays right here. It's called Aged Pewter. It's a Gentle Arts color. And then the Weeks Dye Works lilac is what's used on these flowers. And everything else in the pattern is DMC. So, like I said, I had done his face and the outlines of the ears, and I had done the cabin and a few of these flowers. And I had done part of the gray here, this darker gray, not all of it, and then part of the lighter gray. I had not done the little pattern here of the gray, the little diamond pattern, whatever. I did these little diamond shapes, whatever, in this, because they were in this lighter gray color. So because I had done the gray, all of the grays and the whites and everything in its face. I had finished the face, and I had done part of this back, and then part of the lighter gray in the body here. So that was as far as I had gotten on the Jackrabbit last time. So on Friday and Saturday last time, I finished the ears, and I had done, I think, the white inside of the other ear. But so this past week, I did not work on any of the flower stuff on the outside. I just worked on the rabbit himself. So I finished the ears. I did the insides and the whites and the outlines and everything on the ears. And then the face was like that, it was already done. But I worked on the back, and I worked on this pattern, all that. So I finished, actually, I think all of the gray, of this darker gray. So you can see it all the way down to the tops of his feet. And I did almost all of the white. I did there's a little, white outline. This is one of the front foot and part of the back foot here. And I think, yeah, all that's left of the white is the tail. And I have done just the outline of the tail. There's this triangle shape here is all white, but this white outline, that's all white that's on the outside of the tail. The rest is this lighter gray color here, and then the darkest, almost black color. It goes right here. And I had not done that before because I had not done the rest of this haunch back here, so I couldn't count that far down. But yeah. So, and then there's some of the darkest color. This that's on the ears. This down along the bottom of his feet. But yeah. So really, all that's left is this lighter gray color, that aged pewter, that fancy floss color, and it's just basically kind of back and forth because I've done all the design stuff, so it's just like filling in all that. So I don't know. I want to finish the tail maybe today, just because I want to get at least this white color. I want to finish that, and maybe that darkest color, because now that I've done more of the foot here, I think I can put in that darkest color, and then I'll be done. I'm getting, when I work on these, I get this color completist kind of, thing going on, where I'd like to finish all of this darker color and be done with it, and finish all the white and be done with it. But rather than working on like specific motifs or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the Jackrabbit, and I may or may not do more. I want to finish that tail, like I said, and at least the white in the tail, and then next time I work on it, probably next year or whatever, I'll be able to finish it. So anyway, that's what I've done on the Jackrabbit. And this is, again, Cottage Garden Threads. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But that's my second WIPGO call of the month. So then the other WIPGO things for April are my two new starts, and one of them is Frostbite, and this is by Ardith Design. Amanda May MacNaughton is the designer for Ardith Designs. So this is I just love this design, Frostbite, this little snowman with a jaggedy teeth. And like I said, for this design, I think I've talked about this before. This is fabric. This blue with the little snowdrop things is a fabric color. The actual design is this round shape and the snow. It's basically full coverage, right? From the top of the snowman down to the bottom of the snow. This is all stitched, but everything around it out here, this is the fabric that it's on. And so I kind of had a dilemma because in my mind I had forgotten that the snow, goes out here. I was thinking it was just a round design, and I was going to finish it in the round, on some round thing. But then I looked at it again and realized, oh, it has this base of what's supposed to be like snow, It's not exactly a snow globe, right? But it's just round design. And so I was puzzling over what fabric to use, and how big a finish to it. So last week I showed that little stand thing that I found at Hobby Lobby. That it's not quite as big a square as this, the way they finished it here. But it's similar because the design itself is approximately, it's a little bit less than 6 by 6. It's 5 something. The actual stitched area, I think, as I recall. But so on the design it says something about finished design size is 5.4 by 5.2 inches. So just under 6, under 6, just over 5, whatever. So the finished piece that I have is, I think it's 6 by 8 or something like that. So it would just fit on there. And I think this was stitched, well, actually, this is 32 count fabric. So anyway, but I did the cross stitch calculator thing, and I think it'll work out fine. And I was debating, I was talking with my sisters this morning. We were filming our Three Sisters video, and I was talking about how I was considering different fabrics. My older sister has a 32 count, very light blue with little snowdrops, very similar to this, but a much lighter blue. And I could use that. But I hadn't decided, and I was thinking about this, which is, again, I talked about this last week. This is 14 count Ada. And so my younger sister was saying, well, you could put it on here, and then, like, if this was the white area, it would kind of fade into this and look like snow or whatever. So, and then the actual stitching is like, this dark blue color, right, is most of what it is would show up very well. And then the white down here would, here, the white would, fade into this finishing this color down here. So, so I think I am going to go ahead and use this. And this is, again, like printed fabric because it's white on one side and just, you know, the color is printed on this side. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this. It's going to be a little bit larger than you know, this finish, you know, because this is 32 count, this is 28, which is the equivalent of, I mean, it's 14, this is the equivalent of 28 count. So it's a little bit larger, but I think, again, according to the cross stitch calculator thing, I think it'll work on my finishing piece. And if not, I finish it some other way, but, you know. So anyway, so that's one decision made. And actually, I was going to start it during the Three Sisters video, but because it is round, you know, I have the corner mark, because I want to do it on the corner of this fabric, not like in the middle of the fabric. And so, yeah, because it, you know, kind of fades to this, you know, other color, but I want to do it on this darker part of the color. So, yeah. If I want to start it in the middle of the design, I'm going to have to, you know, measure and cut this fabric to make sure that it, you know, that I have enough with the margins and blah, 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 and start with the design in the middle. Otherwise, it's really difficult because I was trying to see, well, can I start this at the, like at the top, at the middle, whatever, because the middle of the design is down here. You know, so, and the corner, like coming in 1 inch from the corner or whatever, you know, I'd still have to count a long way to find someplace to start. So I couldn't really start it on camera, you know, like, I'd have to measure too much. So anyway, so I didn't start it today like I was going to. But like I said, this fabric, I think I'm going to do this design on this fabric. And this is one of my new starts for the month. So I have to put all those pieces together and get cracking on that. My other new start for this month is the Fox Snow Globe by TinyModernist. I talked about that last time. And I think I have decided to go ahead and do it on this fabric. This is, I want to say it's 32 count. And it's like tea, coffee dyed, whatever. And I think this strip is big enough to accommodate that. I do also have this strip, which is the same size, but it's the coloration is slightly different just because of the way it dyed. There's like a few like darker marks or whatever. But so I'm going to look at those with the flosses and decide on which little piece of fabric I'm going to use. But it's very small. It's 68 by 68, so it should fit on this, I think, the way I call it. But so those are my two new starts that are coming up in the next few weeks. But the 20th, tomorrow, is also my dad's birthday. And so I have the little memorial piece that I designed for my dad, and that I'm probably going to work on some. But I also have this, I talked about this last week, this design to my dear father. And I wanted to go ahead and at least start it also. The pattern, again, it's one that I could start it in the middle. I don't know. But I decided to go ahead and do it on this 28 count Carolina linen. Just because the model here is stitched on just a very neutral background, because the design itself is full of different colors, you know, and I want everything to stand out very nicely on there. It has a lot of blues, and because I thought about using like a green fabric, a blue fabric, whatever, but I thought, you know, these other colors, these colors wouldn't stand out well enough on it. And so I did settle on just this neutral 28 count Carolina linen. It's a very loose weave. I've used it for one or two other things. It's a very loose weave, and it's one that I would have to be very careful, making sure I don't, pull too tightly or whatever, because it's very easy to distort this because of the looseness of the weave. But I like the little flecky color. I don't know if you can see it on there. It's got, these little flecks of color in there. And so I think it looks very natural, very, not exactly rustic, but you know what I mean. So anyway, that's the color I think I'm going to use for that. So I think I can start that tomorrow as well. And this is like a DMC Charles Craft fabric. And I don't know, at Michael's or Joann's or something. I may even have got it at Hobby Lobby once upon a time when they used to carry such things. But I think more likely I got it at Joann's once upon a time. Anyway, my other new start that I want, and I think I'm going to do this for the spring mingle coming up. It's coming up the first weekend of May, and although there's no requirement for anything specific for you to work on, it's just, a time. It's one of those virtual things like the Jingle Ball, like they had the Nash Stash weekend. Was it in March or April? I don't remember when it was. For people to start, new stuff from Nashville if you wanted to or whatever. And I didn't participate in that because I was doing other stuff that weekend or whatever. Wasn't sure that I was going to have time. But for this spring mingle that's coming up, I think I'm probably going to work on work on Mouse's Snow Day. I have 3 other of these mouse patterns from TinyModernist that I finished, and I was trying to think, what fabric did I finish them on? And I think I had done them on just like 28 count Lugana, different colors. So they're not like, it's not like I have I'm doing them all in the same fabric. But I think all 3 of them were on like 28 count Lugana, I think, just off the top of my head. But I didn't, plan on it specifically. It was just like what I happen to have. I happen to have scraps of whatever. But this is a small piece that I got at the attic some time ago. They had a basket of just like small cuts. I'm assuming they're from like larger pieces that they had cut down, and these are leftover small pieces or whatever. I don't know. Or I don't know what they were. But anyway, this is a 30 count. I don't know who the dyer is or anything about the fabric, but it's 30 count and it's 9 by 10, this little cut. But I like the color. It's this sort of, not exactly olive green, but green color. But I think it'll work well. These are the colors of the design. So I think it'll work well, all of them. The only one I was really concerned about was this green grasshopper color. But I think it'll show up well on this fabric. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to use that. It's 30 count, so it'll be a little bit smaller than the other ones that I did, but not noticeably, because the other ones were all, like I said, on 28 count, I think. So 28 or 32, so, you won't be able to, I don't think you'll be able to tell the difference. But I think like on this one, the white doesn't show up quite as starkly as it will on this fabric. I think the white will show up very nicely. And yeah, so there's a mouse, and the mouse has, it looks like a muff, I think, or something, but then there's a little Canada goose there and these flowers and everything. So yeah, it's another one in is it Cheryl McKinnon? Is that who it is? That's behind TinyModernist. But she has like several of these, and this will be the fourth one I've done. I think maybe a total like maybe 10 or something. I don't remember how many there are in this series. But yeah, it would be nice to do all of them. You know, I just haven't come across all of them I haven't ordered them or anything like that. I just like every once in a while I'll see them somewhere and I'll, you know, like this one I got at the attic. I don't remember if it was part of Nashville. Maybe it was part of Nashville. Well, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah. So maybe not. Maybe it might have been just a new thing they had there at the attic. I don't know. Anyway, but this is, yeah. So I have several of these, and I always mean to like look at her website, or you know, and see the other ones in that series or whatever, you know. But I just haven't done it yet. But anyway, so like I said, I think I want to work on this for Spring Mingle. So yeah, in addition to whatever new starts I have next month, for whatever comes up for May WIPGO, and I don't know yet. So yeah, but anyway, so that's yet another new start I want to do. But then what I was very excited because what came in the mail this week was my punch needle and primitive stitcher, the spring issue. So there's some very nice things in here. I was talking with my sisters this morning again about punch needle, because part of me really, really wants to do punch needle. And like I said, I watched Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial about doing punch needle, and it, you know, before I felt like I kind of understood it, and I have like a little punch needle kit somewhere, probably put away in storage or whatever, that my sister had given me, that she had done part of, and then she, you know, kind of didn't finish it. And I had that kit, and I think I finished it, but I don't know if, I mean, not finished it. I think I kept it, but I'm not sure if I still have it somewhere. But I have a punch needle, you know, device, and I you know, thought I understood how to do it, and then I watched this, but I wasn't sure. And then I watched Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial, and I thought, okay, I really understand it now. And then, I didn't do anything with it yet. So, but part of me wants to, because a lot of times, you know, I get these magazines, and I'll, of course, I like the cross stitch designs, but I usually like, you know, at least one or two of the punch needle designs. And one I really like is, I like this bunny down here, this black and white bunny by Two Old Crows. But you know, I'm always very intimidated by the process, especially the where you, like, you know, the transfer process of making the design and putting it on your fabric and all of that. And so I, you know, had discussions with my sisters about, you know, an easier way to do that or whatever. But just that's the part that kind of hangs me up, is the transferring the pattern onto your fabric. Because like when you start a cross stitch design, you know, with counted cross stitch, you're not really you're putting the design on the fabric, right? You're just, it's basically like a little bit like, well, and this is too, like paint by numbers, you know, kind of in paint by numbers. I did that a long time ago when I was, I don't know, maybe in college or something. But like, you know, you have all these little areas, and they'll have like a number 6. And so you know, everything that's number 6 on your little chart, whatever, it'll say, oh, number 6 is this color. And so you find, you know, among your paints, whatever, okay, this is number 6, and so you paint everything with a 6 on it, you paint that color. And everything with an 8 on it, you paint another color, and whatever, you know. And for me, cross stitch is kind of that way, right? Because on the pattern, it'll say everything, you know, with this symbol is this color, and everything with that symbol is that color. And so you put so many stitches of this color and so many stitches of that color according to the pattern. And punch needle is kind of the same way, you know, because it'll say, like, you know, oh, all of the you know, this part of the rabbit, you know, is all this color, and the inside of his ears is all this color, and his back legs are that color. And so in many ways, you know, the patterns for the punch needle are, you know, you're just following, you're just putting in the colors of that thing, like paint by number. But for punch needle, you have to actually put the you know, the design on your fabric, right? Trace it onto your fabric or whatever. With kind of cross stitch, you're starting, you know, on this piece of fabric, you know, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to start right here, and you put, you know, how many stitches of what color. Or if you're starting in the middle, you know, you're saying, okay, I'm going to find the middle of the fabric and the middle of the design, and I'm going to put so many stitches here, and then you know, work out from that. And so you don't have to draw it on here. You just stitch it on there. And I think it's the whole transfer thing that kind of intimidates me a little bit for whatever reason. But anyway, but in here there are also lots of things that I want to do. One of the things I want to do is like this beetle is one of the designs on there. And that's just sort of showing you, I guess, what colors go where or whatever. Let me see if I get, yeah. So the actual finished thing, look, you know, this is the punch needle design of that beetle. That's really, really nice, really lovely. And this other, find that black and white bunny. Oh, this one I like also. This is a cross stitch, the stitching bunny. I don't know, bunny kick or whatever. But this little rabbit here has a needle, and there's an alphabet and some scissors and tomatoes and spools of thread. Yeah, I like that. I wish the fabric was a little bit darker so you could see the white better, or maybe it's just the picture. You know, it needs to be a better picture. And, you know, I like this design. This is the punch needle. I'm not really crazy about designs that have a welcome whatever season, you know, welcome spring, welcome winter, welcome whatever. But I like that. Sorry, my hand is cramping. I like the little deer and the flowers. I like that design. Otherwise, like I said, I've never been crazy about the, you know, welcome whatever. I don't know why. I don't know if it's not so much that I don't like words or anything like that, but for whatever reason that doesn't appeal to me so much. I like this one also. This is a cross stitch. Posies. Paint, yeah. The colors are to me, a little washed out. I wish they were a little bit darker. Again, this is the bunny here. Yeah, Hop to It is the name of the design. So this Oops, I want to show. Oh, that's just a shirt. Okay. So, but this one I really like. This bunny. Yeah. So, again, that's a punch needle design. Yeah, so anyway, this is a great magazine. I'm always gonna tout it. You know, if you don't have a subscription to it, it's worth the subscription price, because for the cost of the magazine, like $10, you get a whole bunch of different patterns. You get like this issue has probably a dozen of each of both punch needle and cross stitch. Yeah, 11 or 12 designs of each kind of both punch needle and cross stitch. And this issue, I talked about the December issue last time, that there was a design that was on the cover, but it wasn't anywhere in the magazine. And this is called To All a Good Night. And it was this one here, and it was on the cover, but it wasn't anywhere in the magazine. And there was a little note in it that it got left out accidentally. So this is the punch needle. It's a Santa Claus and a sled and it was finished on this wooden paddle thing. But like I said, it got accidentally left out of the magazine. Yeah, it was shown on the cover, but was accidentally left out of the issue. So they have it here, and it's got the design and the colors and everything in there. So yeah, so it's a bonus design. But yeah, there's just, you know, lots of nice designs in this. So that came in the mail. That's a lot of fun. And I think that's probably all I have this time. So hopefully next week I'll have a little more to show, because I'll have all those new starts that I'm at least 3. Well, the one design that I've had for a while, but then the other 2 or 3 new starts I'll have next week, maybe. We'll see how that goes. And maybe I'll do a little bit more on the Jackrabbit, and then we'll see how that's coming on. Because I think after, like, as of next week will be the 28th, well, to 27th, whatever, the 27th, 26th. Can't do the math. And so, like, I think February goes, February, April. I'm looking at my calendar here. Yeah, so the spring bingo is 2 weeks from now. Next week, and then about half a week. The 30th of April is Wednesday of next week. Not this coming week, but the week after that. So we'll see how things are coming along for the month of April. And then I'll be ready to start May stuff. So so I have a week to do, you know, whatever new starts are coming up or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's all one other thing I wanted to touch on was that, you know, I have a case for my glasses. This is kind of scuffy and beat up because one of my cats likes to scratch on things that are, you know, every once in a while he'll be like scratching on my tablet case, because it's kind of like it's not leather, but it's like a faux, I don't know, whatever, but it has like a fabric texture, I guess, or something, and he's always like, the back of it is all like kind of torn up a little bit, I guess, because he scratches on it, whatever reason. The texture of it appeals to him, and he scratches on it. And he also has done the same thing with my glasses case. You can kind of see a little bit of, you know, where he's plucked at it a little bit. But this, because it's thick like this, a lot of times I use it because I'll have my glasses on because I'm stitching, and so I'll use the case. I'll just have it, you know, it's just open on my bed, and I'll have like whatever threads I'm using, my scissors, whatever, you know, just sitting in the case, you know, so that I don't lose track of them, because I stitch on my bed, you know, lying on my bed. And so they're all contained in my case. But my cat Snug, he likes to lie beside me, and he'll be lying there, and he'll like kind of stretch out on the bed, and so he'll lie on top of my open case, right? So I'm looking for my stuff, and he's like lying on top of it or whatever. And so I realized the other day that usually it had a spring, and it's, you know, would snap closed all the time. And somehow, I don't know if the spring got broken or shifted or whatever. Like, I think underneath there, there's like a lining in there, right? But I think, and the lining is kind of cracked. But I think underneath there, part of the problem is that there's like a little like wire to, you know, with the two things, the two halves are connected by, and it's kind of shifted out, I think, or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's basically kind of ruined. So yeah. Thank you. My cat has smashed it. But it's actually, I was looking at my calendar, and I think I'm due for an eye exam next month. So I'm thinking, and actually I was thinking, I think I might need, you know, like an update to my prescription. I might need a little bit stronger prescription. I'll have to check and see how I'm doing. Yeah. The other day I was stitching something, and you know, these are like bifocal, you know, what do you call it? No line bifocals. And usually, like, you know, because I'll use the lower half, the close vision stuff, you know, when I'm stitching, and the distance vision, you know, I can look up at my television and see, you know, and like a lot of times I'll be lying there, and I'll, if I don't have my glasses on, if I look up at the television, I can't, like I'm going squinting, trying to read the little synopsis stuff on the corner or whatever. And if I put the glasses on, my glasses on, I can read what it says, you know. But the other day, I don't remember, I had my glasses on, and I was stitching, and I was looking, you know, at the close vision stuff, and I looked up, and I could not read the stuff on the TV, and I'm like looking my glasses around, you know, and yeah, and just like, I don't know if it was whatever was going on, but I can't see anything, you know, and so I'm thinking, yeah, it might be time to sort of, you know, see if I need a change in my prescription. But also for sure, you know, my glasses tend to get a little scuffy, and, you know, and all that. So it might be time for a new set of glasses anyway. I don't know. I have to look into that and see how that comes out. Anyway, but so yeah. So this coming week, I'm gonna try to do those two new starts: the Frostbite and the what do you call it? The Fox Snow Globe, TinyModernist thing. I'm trying to at least get, because I don't have any specific goals for those, for my new starts, to try to get, you know, at least a few stitches in a couple of days, a few days, you know, depending on how things go in this coming week. So I can at least get them started, and at least get them off to a decent start, so that whenever, if I don't finish them, and they're both small enough that theoretically I could finish them in the week and a half I have left for April. But it just depends on how things go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have any real compulsion to finish that. I do have an urge to work a little more on the Jackrabbit, and since these are all WIPGO projects and it's my board, my rules, I've already hit the goal for the Jackrabbit, so I could do more on it or not, just depending on how I feel. And I don't have any specific goals for my new start, so I could just do what I feel like doing. And the stuff I want to work on for tomorrow for my dad, to honor my dad, again, that's just my own, what I decide to do. So, yeah, so I'm all sort of up in the air for the rest of the month, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm being visited by a big dog now, our new dog, Hank. He's over here. Hello, puppy. He's a big doggy. Sorry. He scares me a little bit every now and then when I'll come out of my room and he'll be standing there like kind of with expectation. And it's a little scary because all of a sudden there's a big dog right outside my room. And he's standing there. He doesn't make any noise. He's just standing there and he's staring at me. It's just kind of like, oh, there's a big dog out here. But he's very sweet. He's just big. He's very big. Anyway, so I want to thank you again to Gloria for the threads she sent, and I just can't get over how generous and kind that was. And I think that's it. So I will see you next week. Yeah, next week. And so in the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.